my name is Joanne Myers. I'm so happy to be the host this evening. And for those of you who do not know me, I started teaching in York Region District School Board, and I taught for 19 years or so at the University of Toronto, and then ended my career at the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario down at the provincial office doing professional development, professional learning for educators across the province, and also very proud to have worked with Lindy and Ian at OTF with the TLP program, as well as working on the assessment portfolio. So Eric, please introduce yourself and let the members know where you're teaching now and what your current role is. In your case, I'm going to say what your current roles are.
Well, thank you very much. Well, like you heard, my name is Eric. I've been teaching now for 27 years. I started my career in Southern Ontario in Windsor for 5 years, where I taught elementary school back there, and a very big impact on my style when I was teaching back there. And I have moved back home where I grew up, and I'm teaching actually at the same school where I went to in high school at Cité des Jeunes in Kapuskasing, Ontario. And I wanted to take this opportunity to show you where that was, because I know a lot of people do not know where that is, or can't really can't have a sense of the distance that we are. Toronto's right here, Ottawa's right here, and Kapuskasing is way up north over there. So that's about, I'd say, a 10 hour drive from Toronto. I borrowed this map from my colleague's class, so I'll be heading back to my class right now.
Give us some perspective of where you are. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I hope this is not too dizzying for you, for me walking around.
Nope.
And it's not that far. On the way, I'll stop and show you my old high school locker, where when I was a student here, right there.
Oh my gosh.
This was my number 2112, and I used
amazing.
to love it because this is the number is the name of one of Rush's first album, the group Rush, and I was proud to have that locker.
Totally what drew you back to be at that school teaching.
Yeah, exactly. So right now I'm in my class, and yeah, this is where I teach. I can show you around, unless I'm not sure if I said everything. I just want to apologize as well. I told Lindy this, and Joanne as well, that English is not my first language. I do understand it perfectly, but I don't get a lot of opportunity to practice it teaching in a French school. And this community is very Francophone. So I will be searching for my words often, especially when it comes to technical terms. I'm used to saying them in French, and I've never really known them in English. So I might have some difficulty for this. So I'm asking Joanne to lend some help whenever possible.
I'm sure it will be excellent in every way. You might want to mention now, so we don't forget, that you will be doing a French webinar coming up as well.
True. I'll be doing a French webinar, I guess, the second half of the year. And yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Yes. Okay, so Eric, we'd love to hear about your classroom learning environment,
Sure.
and explain to us why it is, how it is so unique.
Yes, I'm, like I told you, I'm back where I started. This is where the high school I went to. I even have, I shouldn't show this since it's going to be recorded, but I even have, this is my old desk, and this is the graffiti I put in when I was a student here in 1988 when I graduated. So the graffiti is still there. I'm proud of that. Some students have found it, exactly, full circle. Some students have found it and have asked me if it's now okay to do graffiti. I had to tell them that it was punished for that, but the graffiti is still there, so it was worth it. I'll show you, if you want to see my classroom. It is a regular class, but I've inherited a lot of material and technical stuff from my old teacher, and I've accumulated a lot of stuff as well. So I feel like my classroom feels more like, if you ever watched the Mythbusters, it feels more like the Mythbusters workshop, and because I have so much stuff, like in that I can use. So I'll start, don't want to bore you with this, but I'll just go slowly and show you around. So pretty much everything that you see in there, it's used for electricity, electromagnetism, and everything is for sciences, but there is nothing that you see that I don't use in class. So I have, just in this class here where I teach mostly physics, I have tons and tons and tons of material. I can't even fathom how much everything is worth. I have also I guess it's a storage room, but
Yes.
it's more of a storage facility where I accumulated most of my stuff. And I've got so much stuff here that I use for everything from demonstrations, from labs and experiments. And this is where I store and use everything.
Looks
And,
very organized, Eric.
Thank you very much. I tidied up before before you guys came over. And I have another classroom as well. Whoops, that didn't work. There's another classroom as well that I use for chemistry on this side. The lights are turned off right now because I wanted to show you as well some things that I'd be doing. So this is a short laser presentation that I used to do with the kids. And I'm not sure if it shows up on your camera here.
Yes, we're seeing it.
And it's kind of a maze that the kids do. I say kids, but most of them are young adults. Right now, I think I'll go back to the side and come back to it later if need be. But I have two classes that I use, one mostly for physics and one mostly for chemistry. And I'm very, very well equipped. Most of the stuff, like I said, came from previous teachers, but I've been accumulating quite a bit. And there's not much stuff from the curriculum that I can't work with or do or invent, which is my passion.
Yes, I'm seeing some comments in the chat about, wow, holy material. So you're very
Yeah.
fortunate to have those.
I am fortunate. I am
Yes.
absolutely, and I know it.
All right, next one is, what makes you different as a teacher and as an educational leader?
I would say, you know what, when I was asked to do this webinar, the first question I asked myself was, why me? I'm just a teacher. I haven't really done anything any more special than any other teachers. I've been teaching for a while, and I guess I've accumulated some stuff. But when I thought about it, I would have to say that what takes me apart from the rest is the fact that I have a very good imagination. I can think up of a multitude of new ways to teach and show concepts to students, and I love inventing and building new stuff. So I'm constantly inventing new experiments with the students and working on them. And I have a few that I can show you right now if you want.
Absolutely.
And you're going to see that when I show these to you, you might think that they don't look too professional, and I agree. Just put this down. This is one of the things that I've been doing with the kids, which actually the kids, like I said, young adults, they do like this in physics, where we have to use force and measure force. I've had a hookup installed for, I think it's a 2-ton hook, so I can hook up a lot of heavy stuff on there. The students put in their iPhones in there, we bring up the right app, and they basically measure the force of their punch. And this, you can probably tell that, especially for the younger boys, they're always very excited to find out how hard they can punch. And that makes it so I can teach the subject matter, the concept, but they're not looking for the concept itself. They get it, but what they want to know is, it's a personal thing about them. They want to know what their strengths are, what their strength is. And
Right.
A lot of the labs that I do are aimed towards that point. So I give them a personal reward for their participating in my class, because they find out things about themselves that they would not know otherwise. And that they like it a lot, especially as teenagers.
It's that intrinsic reward that I think is missing so much in society today, in our schools, in our lives, like that intrinsic feeling of reward that lasts for a lifetime.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, most of my labs, not most of them, but quite a few of my labs are designed towards that, so that they can find out things about them personally, and that they do enjoy that. They always look forward to those labs. When the labs I do have, or when the demos I use don't go in that direction, I try to have something that's completely alien to them. So this is something I've designed. And like I said, don't think it looks very professional, but it's basically a bicycle wheel that I've hooked up to a activator. And this is just a cone of cardboard, at the end of which I've taped, I'm not sure if you can see this, taped a needle.
Yes.
And this is
To an LP.
To an LP, which is, like I said, I told you, alien to them. A lot of them don't understand this.
Of course.
And if I just turn this wheel around, you might be able to hear. I'm partial to Supertramp, by the way, so you might recognize
too.
it. I just had to turn the right speed. That surprises them.
Yes.
Especially if I go faster, and then it's the chipmunks that sing.
Yes.
But
well, it
basically,
looks like a gramophone.
It is. It is. It's a gramophone that's set up with a bicycle wheel. But the point is, I like inventing stuff that seems so simple and even stupid when you think about it, but it makes them understand the concept. I'm one that tries to steer away from models that come in on the computers or even the iPad or iPhones. Those are great. Those are great for when you can't have physically the stuff in front of you. I prefer to go for, since I teach physics, and physics is basically the rules that govern the universe itself. Right. I prefer to go with the hands-on, especially, and I like it when it looks really decrepit like that one. I like it because it makes them feel that it's not out of reach. It's something that they can understand. And a lot of kids, Joe, I could do this. And I tell them, do it, try it. And that's
absolutely.
Yeah. And
I think it makes you reflect back too on, whoever did invent that gramophone, like you made it look so simple there with those pieces that you found.
Exactly. Yeah. I enjoy doing that a lot. So a lot of my experiments with the kids look like this. And I've got something else, like I have this treadmill that was basically being thrown away. So somebody just gave it to me, and I changed it because I had so many students asking if they could plug in their phones into the class so they could charge it. And I basically set it up so that now if they want to charge their phone, they just need to run with it.
Yeah.
As soon as they start walking, it's going to charge it. It's pretty hard though. But
oh my gosh. There's probably a lineup at that treadmill.
No, actually, the first day, yes, they want to try it. They want to light this light bulb, but I'm kind of a joker. So this light bulb is it's a 250 watt light bulb, so they have to run pretty fast, or they get tired quickly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I have a lot of stuff as well. I mean, there's a lab going on right now because I was teaching today and decided to leave this stuff out so I could show you guys. This is a grade 9 class where I teach electrostatic for static electricity. And we're just actually, this lab is a lab that the kids are trying to find out. It's called, not even sure in English what the name is, but they're trying to find out which material not conducts, but takes the electrons the most. And when I use this material, I have a lot of material, like I said, and I have actually I'm not even sure if this lab will work perfectly. So when that's the case, I talk to my students, I tell them, okay, I have a lab I want to do, but I need you guys as partners so that you can help me design the lab so that it's going to work well. And in that sense, they help me. They are extra hands, and we together we design a lab that's going to be used for the other classes later on and next year and the following year. And it gives them they're proud when we do that.
Yes,
They're proud when
yes.
we've managed to make it work and have something that's going to be used year after year.
And
So
they have ownership of it. They feel
exactly.
ownership, right?
Yes, and they asked me about it years after. Are you still doing that lab? Does it still work? Have you changed anything? And it's yeah, like you said, they have ownership over it, and it's perfect. Yeah, so we're
Excellent.
doing that right now. Yeah.
Well, you've already told us some, but I'm pretty sure you probably have a few more. Can you provide us with some examples and stories of daily student learning in your classroom?
I have some what I like to do. Like I said, I like to have some experiments that use the kids where they can find out personal things about themselves. When I can't, I try to put on a show. I take out the lasers, I take out the smoke machine, and not just for the fun of it, but during using while teaching a concept that has to do with the material itself. But the students, I like the fact when they come into my class, I hear a lot. Wow, every time we come in here, it looks different.
Yes.
Because I set up everything every day. Both of my classes, when they come in, there's something different that's being shown, and the kids are looking forward to to come in my class to learn because of the fact that they know that it's going to be different. It's not the same environment, even though the environment doesn't change. There's always something new. And I even had one student. Actually, the students don't tell me this, but one parent tell me that her daughter had told her that it feels like we're going to a rock show every time we go to that class.
Wow.
And I really like that compliment.
You can't get much better feedback than that in terms of
Yes,
motivation.
that's right. I've got a lot of experiments, and most of them can be found on my website, but I have experiments that I've designed with the students to shoot balls through hoops. We've designed launchers in physics, and we've just finished designing and actually worked very well a lab on synthesizing esters in chemistry. And it's a lab that I've been doing for the last 15, 20 years, but the last couple of years, I decided to get some more professional material and to work on it with the kids. And we've actually done pretty well. We had a very high purity yield, and I was pretty proud of that. Felt like Breaking Bad or something.
Yes. Excellent. We'd love to hear about how you observe and track your students' growth with all this activity, all this hands-on learning.
Yeah.
How do you
Yes.
manage that?
It's actually, it's difficult, but it's not so bad. I do what I like to do. When the students themselves, they participate in the labs. Like I said, they help to design it. But even when the labs are designed already and they're just students, they're not my partners, let's say, in that sense, I always ask them to give me information about what errors were there in that lab and how could we improve upon it. And I've actually had some very good proposals from the students and that I've used later on. The labs, year after year, they get more refined and better. And part of it is from myself, my imagination and the stuff that I think of to improve on it. But a lot of it is from the students themselves that have tried the lab and they propose solutions to different problems. And they've gotten so good now that sometimes the results are 100%. I mean, all the designs that they try and it works out, and it's a lot of fun having them and produce a part of it. And like you said, like take it kind of belongs to them after that.
Right.
So I track those. I could, if I would have had a time, I would have liked to stack up the improvements that I've seen. It'd be like some sort of evolution of a certain lab, and to see it over the years, how it's changed. But I do that all the time. When I teach, I fancy myself actually more of a scientist that teaches than a teacher of science. I approach every day as a scientist in the sense that I ask myself, how can I show these concepts to these students in a way that they're going to understand them better, the best that I can.
Right.
And I'm always asking myself that question. And sometimes the kids themselves help, but I'm always looking and trying out I'm experimenting with them. Sometimes it doesn't work, and I go back and change something else, but there's a constant evolution of the whole process, and I'm pretty proud of where I'm at now. And I couldn't have gotten here in a few years. It took the whole 25 years to get there.
Wow. Well, you should be very proud. My goodness.
Thank you.
I know when we spoke that you have a highly effective system for communicating with your students' parents. So could you describe that for us and highlight how it's appreciated by your parent community? Because there's no doubt with students that are that motivated to come to your classroom learning science. Explain that to us.
Well, first, that was one of my problems when I first started. I knew I had to communicate with parents, and I'm sure a lot of new teachers felt the same way. You concentrate so much on preparing your classes that you have very little time to grade, or even you have to do it, but you kind of do it when you're ready for the next day, because you're always preparing for the next day. And I knew I had to communicate more effectively with the parents, and that was a problem for me because I felt that communicating with parents only when something went wrong was actually, I didn't like it. I wanted to have a way to communicate with all parents. So I eventually built a program where I could keep track of student progress every day. And every week I send to the parents an update on their progress, be it good or bad. Usually most of it is good, but the point was to make sure that all parents get updates, even the positive ones, not just the negative ones. And it's not really negative, but I just wanted the parents to have an eye on their students and not just have, when you're a parent, the students get back home, you ask them, what did you do to school today? And for teenagers, a lot of it is, I had nothing good. But I wanted the parents to have something that was regular. So it's something that's automated right now. I send every Friday, I send for every evaluation, I send a report that explains that gives the information about how the students have progressed since the last report. And that's been really appreciated by the parents. It's very simple. They get an email, they just click on the link and the report pops up, and they can see where their grades, where they're at right now.
No surprises.
Homework. Yeah, no surprises. And they appreciate that very much. I've had parents, I've had actually one of my mentor teachers tell me that once what you do in class, if it reaches the dinner table, then you've succeeded.
Yes.
Or failed miserably, one or the other. And I think most of the positive comments that I get from parents, because like I said, the students themselves, it's not like when I was in elementary school at this level, they don't really tell you that they appreciate what you've done. It does happen, but it's the exception. But the parents I guess the compliment that I've gotten the most from the parents was the fact that their kids like to talk about what was going on in the class. And that to me, that's the one I get the most, and that's the one I'm most proud of.
Yeah, so you should be. We'd love to hear about the website that you developed, as well as the instructional videos that you have produced with your students.
The website was started about, I'd say 7 or 8 years ago. It's slowly been growing. It's to find it, it's just, you just have to Google Éric Gauthier, my name, and the letters from my school board, CSCDGR, and it's going to be the first on the top of the list. It's in French, but the site was built. At first, I wanted to help the students that were missing because they were sick or missing because they had activities and stuff like that. I wanted them to have an easy way to get back what they had missed, at least what they had missed written down during the class. So that was my first option. And that was way before we had everything that's now available. So the site itself I kept it going. It's used by the students themselves, and they can go there and see all the lessons and stuff like that. When the pandemic hit a couple of years ago, our school board, everybody knows we were like kind of in the dark on how to proceed. And I knew up north over here, as soon as the pandemic hit, most of my students went back to got their jobs back. So they could, instead of they didn't go to school for a couple of weeks, and they got their jobs back. And I knew that if we tried teaching during the day, that I wouldn't get them there. So I started making videos for my students to be able to keep working what they were doing and still find a way to go and see the videos themselves. So I have a YouTube channel that I must admit I haven't been using a lot lately because I was using this mostly during the pandemic.
Right.
And you can find it. It's Monsieur Éric Gauthier. If you search for it, Monsieur, it's just the M with the period. It's not Mr. in French. It's just the M with the period in French. And you can see I have a few videos there of concept I used to teach. I enjoy doing that because I did it quickly. All the bloopers are in there, no editing, or not any editing. Or I wanted to keep it to a minimum because I realized that it's much more interesting when things aren't perfect. And that was the reason why it actually became quite a hit with my students. And a lot of, I was happy because I sent the videos to my students, and I had, let's say in the class, I had 25 students, and I could see that during the following days that sometimes I'd have like 200 hits on the video. I only have 200 students, only have 25. So I was pretty proud of the fact that either they were going more often or they were sharing it or showing it to other people. So that was a lot of fun. I have unfortunately stopped doing that. I did enjoy doing it. It was a lot of work, but since we're back in class now, it is still much more productive to have the students hands-on. I remember like even now when let's say there's a snow day, we're still teaching. We go online and we teach, and it's not as effective as being in class. And I was asking my students about what were the impressions and how could I improve upon that when those days come in. And one student told me something, a harsh truth that I needed to hear. He told me, Monsieur, even though on your end you're moving around and you're doing all sorts of labs and stuff on your end, on our end, you're just a small man on a small screen and you're not moving around. And I remember him telling me this harsh truth, and it's true. They're so used to watching a screen, and they're so used to having things that are really well made and impressive. Yes. So that even though I try my best, it's still something that's very amateurish, especially when I have to do it the same day. And so I realized that those days I can't attain the level that I do in class. So I'm always praying for the days to be open, for the schools to be open, right, and for the students to be in classes. This is where I guess I shine. The videos were okay, but we're limited by the fact that it's still on a small screen. Right. I move around, but the students don't.
But your stories tell us too how much the students probably appreciate being back as well, right?
As well, yeah, they do.
In the class, exactly. Hands-on.
Yes, I agree. Mm-hmm.
You spoke to us about your focus on enrapturing your students, and I love that word. And it's obvious that Éric, the scientist, is doing that every day. Please tell us how you'll continue to learn and keep yourself enraptured.
The fact that I'm always trying, it doesn't get old. what I do because I'm always trying something new. I'm always looking for, like, even the lesson today. This is an experiment that I'm doing with students. It's not a lab. It is a lab for the students, but I mean, it's an experiment that the students take part in. They are my partners and they are helping me become a better teacher. I'm actually experimenting on how I can get better. And the students are there as my help. And that doesn't mean that it's focused on me, but it is focused on the teaching itself. I used to think, I had a student, I talked to you about this earlier. I had a student this semester that asked me a question, and sometimes that's not a good question when the students ask you this, but this student asked me, do you love teaching? Do you love teaching, sir? And my first answer was, yeah, obviously I love teaching. But the more I thought about it afterwards, I kept thinking about it for the following weeks, and I thought, well, first of all, teaching is a very big thing. There's a lot of stuff that's implied in teaching, and love is a big thing as well. And love is unconditional. And I love teaching, but not all parts of it. A lot of parts of it that I don't like. I don't like doing the dishes every day for my chemistry class. I don't particularly like sitting down and grading for hours upon hours during the night. But I started thinking about it, and I realized that I don't love all of teaching. I don't love everything I do as a teacher, but I do everything I love. The stuff that I love, I make sure I do it in my classes. Other stuff that I have to do, I still do it. I mean, I'm getting paid for it, but I do the stuff that I love. I love to invent. I love to discover. And I realized at that point that it's not teaching that I love, it's learning. I love learning. I've always loved learning. And I'm not a teacher, I'm a learner. I'm always learning to teach. And teaching is a byproduct of my learning. It's not my focus. It's strange, but I'm always trying to learn. And that's what's keeping me going. Every day I learn new stuff, not just about subjects I'm teaching, but about the students, about how I'm doing stuff, what works and what not, and what doesn't. And that keeps me, I'm always curious to know if I can do better. I'm always trying to get better. And even if it doesn't work, I don't get discouraged because I know I'll get another try. There's another class coming and something else. And that's what I love. I don't love teaching. I love learning. That's what I.
Yes. Well, it's incredible that you're modeling that growth mindset for your students. And do you have any little stories or examples where students have noticed that in you, in terms of you learning with them, you experimenting with them, any reactions that they've had? Because that has to be part of their motivation.
Of course. Yes, I have one for sure. There's actually when I showed you that phonograph that it built.
Yes.
Nowadays, the LP records are kind of coming back in style, so they know more about it. But about, I'd say 10, 12 years ago, when I first thought of that and showed it to the students, back then, music to those students was something that was electronic, something that came out of a MP3 player, that came out of an iPod or anything, and they had no inkling as how music was produced. When I mechanically produced music, they were flabbergasted. And I remember one student looking at me, and he told me, "Sir, I'm freaking out." He couldn't believe it. And that student is actually a teacher here. He's actually a colleague of mine right now. He's
another full circle.
Yeah, exactly. And I told him about that. That was one point when I was so proud of his answer, because that was what I was aiming for. But I must say that the students don't necessarily tell me these things. I'm a scientist, and even though we have a lot of fun, it's very driven towards learning. And there's not much. I mean, I'm with the kids an hour and 10 minutes every day, and it's go, go, go. So there's not much of personal interactions that go with them. go with this. There are some. I had much more when I was teaching elementary school.
Yes.
But the students aren't necessarily comfortable telling me these things. They do tell me sometimes, but I mostly get these things from the parents. The parents are the ones that are talking to me most. And I remember, I guess, that one time that it really hit me and touched me, and it still does when I think about it. I remember going to a parent-teacher meeting one time, and a parent came in, like every other parent. She sat down. She told me, I'm here for this student, and they told him, okay, started talking about the student, how things were progressing and everything. But the more I talked, the more I noticed that this parent wasn't nodding, wasn't moving their head. I even looked, and didn't seem like she was blinking even. She was looking at me so intently. She was looking right through me, and I started getting nervous and something's wrong. I stopped talking and asked her, is everything okay, ma'am? And she told me, oh, you thought I came here to listen to you talk about my son. And I thought, oh, this is not going to go well. And she told me, I didn't come here for that. I came here to see the man that brought me back my son.
Oh
And
my
she
God.
explained, he used to love school, and now he hated it. And he had changed. He'd become an adolescent. And that's, I mean, I have kids, right? Not kids, but I have my son and daughter older right now. But now that I've gone through adolescence with them, I know what she means. And
Where she was
told me
coming from.
where she was coming from, exactly. And it hits home when she told me, I just wanted to see the guy, the man that brought me back my son. And that,
Wow.
I'll remember that one. That touched me.
That's so powerful.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the best things about being in this profession, is that we all have moments like that where someone recognizes what
Exactly.
you're doing and gives you that feedback. And, I always talk about, like, for so many people, we're on a pedestal, and sometimes we don't feel that with certain things that are happening,
Exactly.
but you're there. And for someone to give you that feedback, to think, okay, I'm somebody that's taking this profession to an even higher level. That's incredible. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
You've touched a little bit on this, and you just referred to, the hours that you spend grading papers, and that might not be something that you absolutely love doing, but explain to us as well how you gather and use student feedback effectively.
Yes, I do. I'll just show you I'm not even sure how they're called in English, the grille d'évaluation, evaluation grits. I'm not even sure how they call it in English. Is that it?
Yep.
This is I'll just show you. It's a lot easier. It's still part of my whole program. These are what they look like for mine. So this is what the parents get and the students get. First of all, I made them in color, and everything is graphic oriented instead of just having the different levels circled. And this is, since it's all electronic, it permits me to have the whole information within one folder, let's just say. And so I can keep track of the students. And I use this as data to help me progress as a teacher as well, because it helps me see where the problems are. I'm a very, like you said, I consider myself a scientist and a researcher, even though all my research is done for my classroom itself. I still look and gather a lot of information. When I grade papers, sometimes, sorry, I'm just moving around, just realizing my phone
okay. We're with you.
My phone is close to dying out. I realized that when I grade the papers, when I pick them up from the students, sorry about that. What I do is when everything is graded, after everything is graded, I pick up the pile and I take the first one on the pile. I look at the student's name and I go look in my information, all my data, and I check, okay, how many times was this student absent? And okay, 4 times. I put it in the pile for 4 absentees. And I do that for every student. I just make piles for every time, for every absence. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then I start doing the average of every pile. And I graph out what the effect of absenteeism is
Okay.
on the grades. And I do that for pretty much everything. I do it for absences, I do it for homework, I do it for tardiness and stuff like that. And I can actually graph out the effect they have. And I show this to the kids to tell them, this is, I'm not making this up. This is what you guys gave me. And this is the effect. This is and it's not just an effect that's I'm saying, it's something that's mathematical, and I show that to them. So I keep track of a lot of information that I use, that I find out on a student, and I use that information for statistics that I show to my kids, and as well to help me make sure that I aim towards the right factor to
Yes.
correct it. So it's very, very precise, I would say.
And I'm sure probably some of our viewers that are with us are thinking, is that a program that you showed us, the assessment sheet that you had there?
It's all part of it. Yes, it's something that's in there as well. It's all something that the assessment sheet, the grading, and pretty much even everything I have, like all of my school day is on there. And so that's the same program that I use to communicate with parents, the same program that I use for my stats. Everything is on there. It's actually not a program. It's just a Excel spreadsheet that I've made up, but it's got, I've got programs in there. What do you call them again? Macros that I've programmed in there so that it is still a program itself. It's an algorithm. Many algorithms are in there.
Okay. Thank you. So Eric, what's next? What do you have up your sleeve to further enrapture your students?
Oh boy, I would like to try and utilize virtual reality within my classroom and my notes, the notes, even with the kids get in hand. I would like for them to use their phone and just run over the notes, and there'd be certain images that would make them pop up some information. I would, when I teach, I'm sorry, I would just want to make sure that I'm not, my everything is charging in there. Okay, perfect.
We don't want you to have to get on the treadmill to charge your phone.
Exactly. There you go. It's okay. It's breathing. What I have a weird sense of humor. So all of my problems that I use in class to teach different types of concept, the problems that the students have to solve in physics, chemistry, and everything, there's still a lot of math involved. So all of the problems I invent, I have some characters that I've invented that are part of these problems. People, I've got all sorts of people that have certain personality, and they live through my problems themselves. They actually progress. So when a kid comes in my 9th grade class of science, these people, these characters in my problems, they evolve, and they live their life through the student. The students can live their life through my classes until they reach grade 12, where they find out what happens to this particular character in the problem. So I do that a lot for the kids to be interested. I would love to have virtual reality, so when the kids can like flash over the examples of the problems I use, that these characters would pop up and do whatever they're doing in that problem in just a video. And it wouldn't, I don't think it would help in understanding, would help in teaching, but I think it would be something that would be new enough. And I think it would motivate students just to take a look, and might bring in some curious people to the class itself.
Oh. A question that just coming into my mind is like, the colleagues that you work with must just feel so fortunate to, be next door to you in your school and feel your energy. What kind of professional collaboration and sharing do you have with some of your colleagues?
Well, we're 3 teachers that teach in science, and we're all teaching together. We're all helping each other for sure. The professional collaboration we do have some within certain projects that are done. Mostly I love to collaborate with the art teacher at my school, José Caron. She's very imaginative, and when we get our heads together, we mix sciences and arts, and we have a lot of fun with that. And I wish we'd have more time to do more of that type of collaboration. But yes, I like to mix, to bring those extremes together, the science and art. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Excellent. Before we turn over to questions, to questions from our viewers, I'm just wondering if you could share one aha moment of your career as scientist / teacher, educator, learner. What would you say when when a the light bulb went on for you, a huge aha moment that you will keep forever?
There are two. One's not positive, so I'll keep that one out.
No, but we want to hear both. We have time.
Well, sometimes it's, I'll start with that one first. It was just a story, an anecdote of things when I used to teach. It was the very first day of school. I was teaching chemistry, and I had a chemistry class in the morning and a chemistry class at the last period of the day. And that was the first time that had happened. And during the morning, since it was the first day, I like to get right into it. So I don't talk a lot. I start right away. These are the security measures that we have to use when we're in chemistry. And I present essentially what things look like when they go bad. This is what would happen. So I have explosions, I have stuff that's burning and stuff like that. And I had prepared a Culligan bottle with a flammable gas inside. And I do that all the time, and it would light it up, and the Culligan bottle would shoot this blue flame right up close to the ceiling. And that went well. It was first period of the day, and the students really liked it because it's very loud and quickly and surprising. When I got to after I'd done that, I put the cap on the Culligan bottle, finished my day. And when I was teaching the last period, when I got to, since it was a chemistry class, I had the same demos already set up. So when I went to light this bottle again, I realized before lighting it that there was no more oxygen in there. I burned it up on that first try, and I put the cap on. Usually I didn't have to bother with not putting the cap on, since I only did that at the beginning of the year, and I never used it after a few weeks or months even. So at that time I realized, and I told the students, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's not going to work." And they told me, "Why not?" "Oh, there's no oxygen in there. I burned it this morning. I just didn't think it. I had to do it again, and the other day, again at the end of the day." The students the whole class were like, "Oh man, sorry, we want to see it. They told us this morning was really."
I was going to say the other kids probably told them about it.
And then I was thinking to myself, I want to do it too. I mean, this is what it's all about. This is what I like. I like the students wanting to. They want me to give them what they deserve to get. I mean, it's my job. And I said, well, let me see if I can find a way. And I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. And I thought to myself, well, I have an oxygen tank in the back, and I'm not I'm not a complete idiot. I know if I fill it with oxygen, it's going to blow up really violently. So I took the oxygen tank out, I put in the hose in the Culligan bottle, and I just opened it just like this, just a fraction of a second. But you can't see how much comes out. I just knew it was a fraction of a second. And the kids were yelling in my class, "Put more in, sir, put more in." And I remember thinking, don't listen to them. But I was thinking, but they might be right. I don't think I put it enough. Usually there's about 20% oxygen in the air. This is what I'm looking to reach. I can't have put more than 3 or 4% in there. I think I'll do it a second time. I did it a second time, and in my head, I was maybe at 10% oxygen in the tank. And I figured that'd be great. I said, it's not going to be as violent or as impressive in the morning, but at least it's going to work. So I put the Culligan bottle in the stand. Every student, you've got your glasses on. Everybody's right. I had my safety glasses on.
Yes.
I need them. So I went to light this up, and it blew up. It blew up. There was Culligan shrapnel everywhere. And it was,
sorry, it's not funny.
Yeah, pardon me?
I said, sorry, it's probably not funny, but I'm laughing.
Oh, it was funny afterwards, but at that moment, I mean, it caught me so much by surprise. I never realized how much oxygens came out of those tanks in so few seconds. I know now, but I didn't realize back then it was that much. And I had made a point of not putting a lot, but it was still too much. So it blew up. Nobody was hurt. I remember asking the students, "Is everyone okay?" And they were answering me, but the only thing I could hear was me. I couldn't hear them. It was my ears were. I didn't pop anything, but I could just hear the ringing sound in my ears, and they were all laughing. I wasn't laughing. I remember this was the last period of the day, and they were all proud to go see the other class and tell them, well, what we got was way better than what you guys got.
Exactly.
And I remember just walking down to the principal's office right after class at the end of the day and told them, well, you're going to get calls tonight. But no calls came in. Nobody was hurt. That helped a lot. And it was lucky. I have to say, I was very lucky. And I was so sure of myself, but it did teach me that no matter what, you have to ask yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen? And since that time, I'm always asking myself these questions now. And I prepare for those. I still do all the experiments. I still do that Culligan bottle, and I've thought of better ways to putting the right amount of oxygen in there since then. But it has helped me to realize that I have to be careful. The stuff I work with is dangerous, and it's not that I don't want to eliminate the danger. It's good to expose the students to a certain amount of danger because they will need it, especially in science. They will need to know how to deal with that. But I have to be careful.
And I'm sure you unpacked that with the students, right? Like, I mean, you unpacked all of that with them. So again, lifelong learning for them, and right in front of them with their teacher.
Oh yeah. And they were laughing so hard, I kind of got insulted. They said, "What are you guys laughing at? This isn't funny." I said, "What if I had gotten hurt and I was just laying on the floor?" And when someone told me, "Well, we could have gone and seen the security, the security, those the security safety data sheets, sir," just to show me that he had listened to what I told them earlier. And, they were laughing at me. I remember that night I took a shower getting back home. When I started washing my arm, I realized I had no more hair.
No.
On my arm, it was all burned off.
Goodness.
It was really, well, oops. Yeah.
Oh, Shannon's saying she always tells her students not to fear science, but you need to respect it. So true. And that reminds me actually of a swimming teacher that I had who first taught us, to respect the water as we learned how to swim, not necessarily fear it, but to respect it. And
I actually do tell the students as well that a small amount of fear is good. The people that have no fear when we do what we do, those are the dangerous ones. Yeah. So
too risky.
A healthy amount of fear is actually very good. Respect is great.